Hello, everybody, and welcome to part 3 of 3 of the catcher tier list ranking video. Thank you all for watching and stopping in. If you didn't watch parts 1 and 2, watch those first so that you know why I rated, who I rated, where I rated them, and so on and so forth. But let's just jump right into this, and we're going to start by talking about Salvador Perez. So Salvador Perez this season is currently not doing great. He's a slightly below average hitter, playing slightly, if not very below average defense, which would probably make you think, oh, here comes another F tier guy. But if you don't know anything about Salvador Perez, then that's probably what you would be thinking. If you do know stuff about Salvador Perez, you would know that last year he set a major league record for the most home runs by a catcher in a single season. So, that's pretty impressive. And Salvador Perez has had a very impressive career for, I don't know how long has he played, 8, 9 years, something like that, 10, maybe something like that. I don't know. He's been very good, though. He's been a staple for the Royals as their catcher for a long time now. And he might be having a below average season this year. I think if I was grading him for this season alone, it'd be in below average. But when you factor in his track record and the fact that he is and has been a very good baseball player for a long time, I think he's got to go in A tier. Prior to this season, I would put him in S, probably. We'll move him down just one to A tier. Because while he isn't playing up to his standards, I feel like he can do better. He's also been dealing with injury issues, I believe, and right now he is currently injured. I think by the end of the season, he won't be considered the Royals catcher. MJ Melendez likely will be, as he is the current starter while Perez is injured. But Perez has had a very successful career. I have no reason to think that he is going to slow down anytime soon. He's having a kind of bumpy year this year, but it's not horrible. So I'm not going to downgrade him to a B or C tier. I'm still going to keep him up towards the top. I'm going to keep him in A tier. I like him up here in the A spot. Next we have Cal Raleigh, who's honestly, of all the catchers on this list, he's the biggest surprise to me. I was not expecting this guy to be as good as he was this year. This is his rookie season, and he's off to a great start. He is an above-average hitter, and he's an above-average defender. We knew he would be good on defense, but we didn't really know what he would provide from a hitting perspective. And so far, he's been pretty good. There's definitely no reason to consider him in the A tier, but I also don't think that we can put him in C tier. I think that he has proven that he's a good player. I mean, he's done this for 3 months now. He's been a good player for 3 months. I think we can stick him in B, call it good, and I'm confident with where I have him there. Next, we have JT Realmuto, who's one of my favorite catchers in all of baseball. And, this is kind of, really tough for me to really narrow down. Do I put him all the way up in S tier, or should I be more reserved and put him in A? Because for his career, you would definitely say prior to this season, yes, he's S tier. He might even be the best catcher in baseball prior to this season. You probably could have said that. And I would agree with you. Prior to this season, I thought he was the best catcher in baseball. Now this year, he's not having a great year. He's hitting slightly below average. His defense is above average. He's doing really good on defense. But I also don't know if it's good enough to really, his hitting is really taking a deep dive. And I don't know if the hitting that he's providing this year, if we can consider it to be elite anymore. But I am going to stick him in S. For one reason. I'm on the fence between S and A, but what puts him up here is one factor. Elite speed. This dude is not only by far the fastest catcher in baseball. Is not even close. He's the fastest catcher in baseball. Is not even close. He could race any of these dudes in like a 40-yard dash and beat him in like 2 seconds, probably. This dude is not only the fastest catcher in baseball, but he's one of the fastest overall players in baseball. And you never see that at the catcher position. That's just so rare to see. He is a unicorn at the catcher position. And for that reason, I'm going to put him in S tier. I feel confident with my decision. If we have another season of poor offensive play from him, there is potential for him to move down into A tier. But I think just the production that he's done in the past is proving that he is good enough to be an S tier, and I think he needs to be there. And I'm sticking to it. Let's move on to the next guy, which is Washington Nationals catcher Keibert Ruiz. Or I think it might be Keibert Ruiz. Sorry about that. I've always pronounced his name wrong. I think it's Keibert Ruiz. So Keibert is very new to the league. This is his first year as a full-time starting catcher, and he's doing relatively well. He's like a slightly below average hitter. And on defense, he's also slightly below average. It's like he is borderline C and D for this season. But I think because he's young, and I think because in limited playing time over the last 2 years, he's been really good, I'm going to put him in C tier. This is pretty close, as if to put him down in D or put him in C. I think this is fair, though. I don't think that he's... I don't think he's below average. Like I said, he's like slightly below average. If I could give him like a C-, I would give him a C-. But we're not doing that. We're putting him in tiers, and he's in C. Next, we have Mr. Will Smith, not the actor, the catcher from the Los Angeles Dodgers. And Will Smith is continuing to put on a clinic. This dude has just never been bad. He's always been good, at least at the plate. He's a really good hitter. And he's another one that is like, do I put him in S? Do I do that? Or do I put him in A? And I'm going to put him in A, and I'll tell you why. The defense is very mediocre, and I don't see it getting better anytime soon. If he can make defensive strides, I think S is very possible. But for the time being, his hitting is good, but it's not Wilson Contreras good. It's not Alejandro Kirk good. It's like the same level as Travis d'Arnaud. So, I'm not saying that d'Arnaud and Smith are comparable, because d'Arnaud is a better defender than Smith. But Smith is significantly faster speed-wise than d'Arnaud is. So maybe those things cancel out. I don't think you can put him in the elite tier just yet. He's very, very close, though. He just has to have an absolutely insane year offensively, or needs to make improvements on defense in order to get to the elite tier, because he is very, very close. He is closer than d'Arnaud and Perez in my mind to S tier. He's like very, very close, very borderline. But it's not him. All right, next we have Jacob Stallings from the Miami Marlins. And, Stallings, he had the last 2 years, he was pretty good. I was a fan of him. But this year, just nothing. He just hasn't been successful. He turned from like a below average hitter to a terrible hitter. Like Martin Maldonado bad hitter, Jacob Stallings. And the defense was elite last year. He was the best defensive catcher in baseball last year. He won a Gold Glove by a landslide. It wasn't even close. He was so good at defense last year. And this year he's been below average at defense. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he's dealing with injury issues and he's just not addressing them. Because he went from someone who I would consider to be average to someone who this year he's been terrible. This year he's been F tier. Because of his track record, I am going to put him in D tier. I don't think it's fair to put him in F. Everyone down here has either never been successful or has been slowly declining over the years like Barnhart has. I don't know what happened to Stallings this year where he just suddenly out of the blue has been bad. When that happens, there's reason to believe that he can maybe jump back up to C tier at some point. But for now, I have to put him in D. There's just nothing I can do. All right, next we have Max Stassi, who I find very, very comparable to Ryan Jeffers. He's like a below-average hitter, and he's like an above-average defender. And what does it do? It puts him right at average. He has been a better hitter in the past, but this year's his first like full healthy season where we can truly see the kind of player that he is. And I think what it translates to is an average player who deserves to be in C tier. Next, we have Tyler Stevenson, the new catcher for the Reds. This is his first year as the full-time catcher for the Cincinnati Reds. And Stevenson, I think, deserves to be in B tier. I think he is a very good catcher. I don't think that he deserves to be up here just yet because he's still very young. We can't quite evaluate him up in the upper echelons at this point. But for the time being, he goes into B tier. He's a very good player. He is an above-average hitter. Defensively, he is like surprisingly okay. I didn't think he would be as good as he is at catcher, but he's surprisingly decent. He might have injury-prone issues, but we're not going to really worry about that for the time being. We're going to put him in B, and we're going to call it good, and we're going to keep him there. All right, 3 left. Now we have Jose Trevino, the new catcher of the New York Yankees, and he's been very good for the Yankees. He's always been an outstanding defender when he was on the Rangers, but now he's incorporated good hitting into his game, which is surprising. So with his elite defense and the fact that he's broken out as a hitter, I'm going to put him in B tier. There could be a case for A tier, but probably not yet, since this is really his first year that he's been a good hitter in. So, but I do think that he's probably upgraded out of, like, the C and D tiers, where I probably would have put him last year. Last year I probably would have put him C tier, but this year I think we can upgrade him to B tier. Now for one of the most interesting players on this entire tier list, and that is going to be Dalton Varsho. So Dalton Varsho is one of the most athletic players in all of baseball. He is a catcher and also an outfielder. To begin this year, he was a center fielder for the Diamondbacks, and over time, they have moved him to krycher because of injuries. He's okay at catcher. He's not really that good. He's really a elite defensive outfielder, and at catcher, he's like below average. But I think when you just factor in the fact that he plays catcher and he plays the outfield, like, that is awesome. And he's a decent hitter as well. I'd say he's an average hitter, and he has pretty good speed as well. You put all that together, I think he's a C tier player. He's not amazing by any means, but he does some really cool things that make him valuable, and we'll put him in C tier. Time for the final catcher of the video. Thank you guys for watching. If you watched all 3 parts, I really appreciate it. Leave a comment letting me know that you did. That would be really, really cool. Thank you guys for watching this. Again, there will be other positions as well. We're not doing just catchers. We're going to go through every position and do this. This is a ton of fun, and I hope you guys like my tier rankings. But let's get into the last one. That is Christian Vazquez. Vazquez has broken out as a hitter. Once again, he's having a career year at the plate. He had been an elite defender for years in Boston, but never a good hitter. And slowly as the years have gone on, he's gotten worse at defense, but he's gotten better at hitting. This year, I would say he rates out as like an average defender, but an above-average hitter. And for that reason, we're going to be putting him in B tier. He's not the best hitter in the world necessarily, but he definitely deserves to be higher than C. I think this is a pretty appropriate rating for Christian Vazquez, who had a tough year last year offensively, but has rebounded this year to his true form that he was at a few years ago. So this is the tier list ranking, guys. We got up in the S tier, we got Wilson Contreras, Alejandro Kirk, JT Realmuto. In A tier, we have Travis d'Arnaud, Salvador Perez, and Will Smith. And plenty of other great players in the middle, and then some not so good ones at the bottom. But thank you guys all for watching. Again, stay tuned for the upcoming videos of other positions. I will probably be doing first base next, since that's just the natural progression, go from catcher to first base. So thank you all for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much. Have a great day. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.